One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is in 1 Thessalonians. And what I'm working on right now is I'm just painting this top for the box that I made over here. It's a box that I made some time ago because one of our dogs, Ice Bear, kept running. He'd get the zooms, and he would run and crash into the sprinkler valves and break the sprinkler valves in the backyard. So I made this box originally just out of leftover wood I had laying around that was pallet wood. I threw it together real quick because I got sick of him breaking the things, and I wanted to have something to keep him from crashing into those. He crashed into the box, didn't matter. Well, as you can see from the photo, the box started to fall apart. So the actual box was still in pretty good shape, but the lid was falling apart, so I made a new lid. And you may be that guy or gal who goes out and does this kind of stuff or not. But one way or the other, I think we got to be productive. Grab my Bible here. I mentioned a scripture. It's one of my favorite scriptures. It's in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, where the Bible teaches us not to be disciplined, not to be sexually immoral and that kind of stuff. And then it goes down into chapter 4, verse 11. And that's where it says, "Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to mind your own business, and to work with your hands, just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent upon anyone." So you have a few things there. First of all, he doesn't expect you to be perfect. He says, make it your ambition to do these things. One is to lead a quiet life. I got to be honest with you. There's just almost nothing as positive in your daily life and as stress relieving as living a quiet life. You don't have to chase the brass ring all the time. You don't feel like you got to have the biggest house. You don't feel like you have to have the fanciest car. You're living a quiet life, a life that people respect, but you're not out stirring up muck all the time. And life's not full of drama. It's not full of victimhood. It's not full of conflict. It's a quiet life. And then he says, mind your own business. Well, as Christians, we want to go out and share our faith. We want to stir up, conversations and that kind of stuff. That's one thing. But, and we should do that. But there's ways to do that don't cause conflict or gossip or nosiness or whatever. And I think that's what perhaps one of the things he's talking about here. And then he says, work with your hands just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent upon anybody. So working with your hands. Okay, well that was, at the time that was written, that's what pretty much all men did, because that was the way you made a living. You had a trade, or you whatever it is you did. You were a farmer, or a sheep herder, or I guess what you'd call a rancher now. Or perhaps you were like the Lord. You were a carpenter, or like Paul, you were a tent maker. But you had a trade and you worked. And the message there is, don't stop working. Stay productive. Keep working. Now, I came up as a young guy in the construction trades because that's what my stepdad did for a living. And so me and my brothers and me, I don't know, my brothers and I, it's not an English class, we came up in those trades, in the brick and block trade, slinging brick and slinging block and stone and whatever. And so, I guess you could say we were stone masons or brick and block masons, because that's what we did. And then I worked as a framer for a while and that kind of stuff. So I have some capabilities where working with my hands are concerned, and I actually enjoy doing it, but it's not how I make a living. But it keeps me, it's cathartic for me and so on. And even if I were retired, which I'm not, kind of semi, I guess, I would continue doing this kind of stuff because I enjoy doing it, and it keeps me out of trouble. And I think staying productive is the message there. Obviously, Life has changed in the 21st century. It's not the same as it was in the first century or the second century. And so what we do for a living is different. And so I think the key there is stay productive. Live a quiet life. Mind your own business. Stay productive. And make sure that you are productive in many ways, not least of which is providing for yourself so that you're not dependent upon anybody. Now, obviously, sometimes we are dependent on others, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I don't think this is all about, convicting you of sin if you're not productive right now, or, so I think it's dangerous for us to look at it from the negative point of view. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Oh, No, let's spin that around a little bit. Look at it from the encouraging point of view, because ambitions can be very positive. And he starts off by saying, make it your ambition to be these things. Make it your ambition to be hardworking. Make it your ambition to stay busy. Make it your ambition to work with your hands if that's what you do, or to be, work on computers if that's what you do, or, produce video if that's what you do, or, whatever it is you do. Make it your ambition to do those things. Make it your ambition to live a quiet life, not a life full of drama, a life full of conflict, a life full of, victimhood, a life full of those things. Make it your ambition instead to live a quiet life. Make it your ambition to mind your own business and not be gossiping or stirring up conflict or in other people's business all the time. And make sure you stay busy and productive, and make it your ambition to provide for yourself so that you're not dependent upon anybody. That's what I think that scripture is about. And it's one of the reasons why I really appreciate it. And I think I've met people who get stuck with I don't like to do woodwork. I don't like to do, work with metal. I don't like to do this. I don't know how to weld. I don't know how to do this. And so I don't want to work with my hands. I don't like to do that. Well, obviously I do, because I smashed my thumb the other day building something. I've got calluses and everything else, even at the age of 68. So, but that's me, right? That's not everybody. I think we go back and look at it and apply it to the 21st century, right? Live a quiet life. Stay away from other people's drama. Don't stir up drama yourself. Conflict. Don't stir up conflicts. You don't need to be doing that. Picking fights and whatever, or having people pick fights with you. Look in the mirror, and if you're feeling like you're a victim all the time, then guess what? You get to figure out, nope, as a disciple of Christ, a follower of Christ, a Christian, I'm blessed. No matter what's going on with me, no matter what's going on with my health, what's going on with my emotions, what's going on with my financial circumstances or my family circumstances or whatever, I have Christ. And that's a blessing, because the guy down the street that doesn't have Christ doesn't get to grow, doesn't get to learn about God, doesn't get to do any of those things. You do. And so, and I do. That is a blessing. And you know what that other person does? They don't get to go to heaven at the end, and you do. Okay? So this is where we get to be grateful, no matter what our circumstances are, and make it our ambition to be these things that are listed there in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. So I thought I'd mention that to you while I'm painting this box. We'll get done with it today, I hope, because I got some other projects around here. But there you are, something to think about on Sunday morning. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to get back to my painting.